Matt Schaff and Jared Smola here to preview week 5 of the FanDuel main slate on DraftSharks.com. This is a main slate, Jared, with no Bills or Jaguars. They're, of course, in London on Sunday morning. We've got no Tony Pollard. We've got no Christian McCaffrey. They're playing each other on Sunday night. No Devontae Adams. No monster DJ Moore from last night. Devontae Adams, I don't know who at what point decided that Raiders-Packers made for a good Monday night game. In any event, we also have the first week of buys this season, which takes all Browns, Seahawks, Bucks, and especially Chargers out of our plans here. So we're combing through the lineup generator for dollars per point values at every position, as well as ceiling projections on all these players to see who gives us a shot at posting our absolute best score. Jared, quarterback, has Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Kirk Cousins, with some separation between that trio and everybody else in dollars per point. Kirk Cousins, $1,000 cheaper in FanDuel salary than Jalen Hurts, $400 cheaper than Tua. Is any of these guys your cash QB on FanDuel this week?
Yeah, I think those three are who you should be, working your lineups around. And that's kind of what I was doing this morning, working on a FanDuel cash line. The team I settled on, had enough to just pay up for Jalen Hurts, which is my preference if I can get there. Don't have to argue for Hurts much. I know, 21 plus FanDuel points in 3 straight games. I like this game environment too. I've been trying to figure out how to play this Eagles-Rams game in tournaments. It's tough to know, especially on the Rams side, how to play it with, Cooper Kupp back. Tough matchup for Kyron Williams on the ground. So I don't know how to play it for tournaments exactly, but I do like Hurts in cash games, in a dome. 50-point over-under is second highest on the week. Philly's implied total is third highest on the week at 27.25 points. I think it should be a high-scoring game, and Hurts should definitely deliver in cash.
Let's see what the projected ownership on Cooper Kupp is right now. If we look at the lineup generator for the FanDuel main slate, there's nothing right now, so I'm not sure exactly how it's measured. It's usually measured on buzz during the week, so it's been kind of tough to talk about what to expect from Cooper Kupp, but reports today are that they expect him to play. Got to think that there's at least a pocket of players that want to play Cooper Kupp right away. That'll be one to really watch right up until those 1 p.m. Eastern time kickoffs on Sunday, because I could see it going either way. I could see there being enough people wanting to play Cooper Kupp right away that he gets popular, and enough people saying, I'll wait and see what he does in week 1, and I'll play Puka and hope that people move away from Puka this week.
I would have trouble playing Cooper Kupp at $8,500 on FanDuel. I would also have trouble playing Puka Nacua at $8,000 on FanDuel with Cooper Kupp back. And that's what I was saying. I'm sure I do, I have Stafford down here as a tournament play because I like him at $6,800. Philly is first in run defense DVOA. They're just 17th against the pass, though. So I do think it makes sense for the Rams to lean pass in this game, which they've been doing already. The Rams are 8th in pass rate over expected through 4 weeks, and now they're getting Cooper Kupp back. So I think it's going to continue to be, a pass-heavy team. I think, Stafford is probably going to give you 40-plus pass attempts in this game, but you could play Stafford by himself, no stack, and then maybe, run him back with A.J. Brown or even, like Dallas Goedert on the other side.
I'd be hesitant to do that with such a pass-heavy quarterback. It'd be different if it was somebody that had some rushing upside, but I can understand being wary about the expensive wide receivers as well, and we'll talk about Tyler Higbee when we get to tight end, but maybe the answer is Tutu Atwell, $5,800. He doesn't have to do nearly as much as either Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua to pay off at that amount. And he has done plenty so far. He has the speed to turn any given catch into all the points you need from him. So maybe he's the answer.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good price on Tutu. He obviously, takes a hit with cutback, but like you said, he can make a strong fantasy day on just one catch if he breaks a long one.
All right. Besides Stafford, what else do we like at tournament quarterback?
Yeah, I'm going to be playing Tua Tagovailoa in tournaments as well. He's been just okay in 2 tougher matchups against the Patriots and Bills, but in his 2 games against teams in the bottom half of the league in pass defense DVOA, which were the Chargers and Broncos, he scored 28.1 and 28.4 FanDuel points. The Giants are 26th in pass defense DVOA. The Dolphins have the highest implied total on the slate at 30 points. So I think this should be another huge game from Tua and the Dolphins offense.
And by the way, those 2 games where he was just okay, he completed 70+% of his passes, and each of them went for 282 and a touchdown against the Bills last week. So it's not even like you're saying, yeah, Tua stunk in week 4, but I'll go back to him this week. His rough games are solid. Switching to running back now, Bijan Robinson, 4th among RBs in total salary. He leads the position in our dollars per point. Is he your running back starting point for FanDuel cash lineups this week?
Yep, I'm definitely playing Bijan in cash games. His role, especially on the ground, has been growing each week. His role in the passing game has been awesome all season. And the Texans have been really surprisingly good against the pass so far this season, but they have not been that good against the run. So I think it really sets up as a nice Bijan Robinson week. And I am playing Isaiah Pacheco in cash on FanDuel. I didn't, like him on DraftKings, but on FanDuel here with the 0.5 point per reception and, just more touchdown heavy scoring. I do like Pacheco. His opportunities have climbed each week this season. He was up to 23 total opportunities last week. Also set a season high in snaps, snap rate last week at 63%. And just an awesome game environment. This Chiefs Vikings game, there should be a ton of points.
That Houston pass defense limited opponent passing scoring last year as well. And we all just chalked it up to the team being so bad that all opponents were running against them. But, when that carries over into this year, maybe it's just time to say, all right, Houston's probably better in pass defense than we thought, especially now that they have a former defensive coordinator as the head coach. So, it's something to at least look at going forward and not just assume that everybody's going to be fine against them. On the tournament side at running back, are you playing Bijan Robinson despite a likely high rostered rate this week?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably get Robinson in some tournament teams. My tournament play here on FanDuel is kind of disgusting, but it's the other Falcons running back, Tyler Algier, at 3% ownership at $5,800. The Falcons are 2-point home favorites this week. And if you remember back in week 1, Algier had 15 carries and 3 targets in a Falcons win. They won that game 24-10. I do think he's going to be more involved in games the Falcons are playing with the lead, which not guaranteed this week. I kind of like the Texans to win that game, honestly, but it should be a close game where the Falcons can run the ball as much as they want. And I do think Algier, should get into double-digit carries at least this week. And he does have 3 of Atlanta's 4 carries inside the 5-yard line this season. So, he might be the team's preferred goal line back, even if, that sounds crazy. So I do think Algier just, getting the leverage off all those, Bijan Robinson teams. If Algier's just the one that happens to score 2 touchdowns, it could be a really nice tournament play.
Yeah, he had the 15 carries you mentioned in week 1. He had 16 carries in week 2 in the game where they beat Green Bay. And I think they had to come from behind for that one as well. So it's not like they were playing from ahead the whole time. And then just 7 carries the past 2 weeks as they suffered double-digit losses to Detroit and Jacksonville. I would certainly imagine going forward that Tyler Algier is a bad bet in any game where you think Atlanta is going to get blown out. There's that chance with Houston. Houston's been very good so far versus what we expected. So I think that there is that downside risk, but we're not staying away from downside risk in this particular format. We're taking a shot on the upside. And if Atlanta really does, win this game as the Vegas line says that they should, then they should be running plenty because that's what they want to do.
Exactly.
Over to wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill lead our dollars per point, despite being the 2 most expensive wide receivers on the main slate. They're both 500 plus in FanDuel salary, ahead of number 3, Jamar Chase. Is either guy in your cash game build, or are they too expensive?
Yeah, I didn't get either guy in, which again, if you do want to go down to Kirk Cousins at quarterback, that makes it obviously easier to fit in Tyreek Hill and Jefferson, which I definitely think is viable. I'm going to, at least for one of my wide receiver spots, take what I think is value on DeAndre Hopkins. And I know, hasn't been pretty this season. I definitely have concerns about how much gas he has left in the tank, but he is just $6,100. His ankle is no longer on the injury report this week. He has 31 targets so far this season on a 28% target share. So the targets have still been coming, even if they, haven't been efficient. Treylon Burks likely out again this week with his injury. So I think Hopkins is again a strong bet for a pretty big target share. And the matchup's pretty good against the Colts. The Colts are 19th in adjusted fantasy points allowed to wide receivers. And I honestly think they, might not even be that good.
I'm going to assume that DeAndre Hopkins does not have the upside to be in your tourney plans, regardless of his game situation and positive salary, right?
Correct. Yeah, I would not play Hopkins. Does he have high projected ownership? I haven't even looked at that.
I'm not even sure I care about that. I don't know if there's a big game in him.
No, I agree. Yeah, 16% projected owned on FanDuel. So I would definitely, he's a tournament fade for sure.
Jefferson and Hill also easily lead the ownership projections in the lineup generator right now. Jamar Chase is third in that category as well. And to me, that makes him a total no thanks, because I think the only potential draw to Jamar Chase this week would be if everybody is off the Bengals after what they did last week. But if that's not the case with Chase, I'm like, all right, I'll look elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like theoretically, it could be a blow up spot, right? Because it's a good matchup and no T Higgins, but it's tough to see a ceiling game coming from this Bengals offense right now. I mean, we saw Chase have the nice week 3 fueled by volume. But even that, that's like a better game on DraftKings. We were getting the full point per reception. It isn't as strong on FanDuel with the half PPR.
Yeah, and the thing here is, we talk constantly about how to read the ownership projections, and if you love everything about Chase, I wouldn't fade him just because of that, but he has to have a ceiling game. He has to be the guy that you had to play for him to make sense when you put together the projected ownership and the high salary. So you still have to build around him. So just, that combo makes him unattractive. What do you like among tournament wideouts this week?
Yeah, I'd be willing to take a shot on Chris Olave in tournaments. He's $7,100, which is a nice price. He's projected for just 9% ownership. The risk is obviously Derek Carr's shoulder, which was, I think, clearly a problem last week, which is why Chris Olave had a bad fantasy game. And I think, it's why I would not play him in cash, even though we do have him as the third best value at wide receiver. I would not play him in cash because of Carr's shoulder. But I mean, Olave topped 100 yards in 2 of the first 3 games of the season, went for 86 yards in the other, 32 targets over that span. And the Patriots just lost their rookie corner, Christian Gonzalez, who by, pretty much any metric had been their best cover corner this season. So there's a matchup upgrade for Olave here. I do think this Patriots Saints game might be crappy. I don't expect a lot of points, but I think Olave is capable of going for 100 yards in a score.
I'll even go a step further and say this game is very likely to be crappy, but Olave is certainly worth working into your tournament plans. I wouldn't feel comfy saying he's going to be in every one of my tournament lineups. That we sometimes have guys like that, but definitely makes sense as somebody to work in case Derek Carr is better. You got to figure that Derek Carr's shoulder is at least better this week, if only because last week he didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday. This week he's been limited Wednesday and Thursday.
Yep, for sure.
Over to tight end, where Travis Kelce does not lead the dollars per point this week, which is a story. And Jared, it might just be because FanDuel is getting cute and making his salary $8,789, a clear Taylor Swift reference, putting Travis Kelce's number with the 89 from Taylor Swift, which I know it's just makes it hard for all of us. 8,700. If that was his salary, he would lead the way in dollars per point. If it were 8,800, he would not. He still nearly doubles the next tight end in projected ownership. So I guess, what are you doing with Travis Kelce? And then beyond that, what do you like for cash at tight end?
Yeah, well, I mean, he is 8,800 for all intents and purposes, because you can't spend that $11 and change anywhere else. So and 20% owned, man, that's crazy, because I would love to play Travis Kelce, but he is very hard to fit into lineup. So I'm definitely not playing Kelce in cash. I'm playing Dallas Goedert in cash. I mean, his price is down to $5,500. I know he's been underwhelming so far. The pass routes are still there. He's running a pass route on almost every pass play for this Eagles passing game. I think, eventually it's going to, swing in his favor, where, it's going to be a big Dallas Goedert game. And we don't even need a, big game for Goedert to pay off at $5,500 for, FanDuel cash games.
Yeah, and you got to like when we get some indication from the coach that he wants to do more with the player. It's tough to draw direct lines from those coach words to what we can expect. But if a coach says publicly, we want to get this guy going, then it at least gives you reason to bet on some upside this week. Now, we mentioned it on the DraftKings show, but it's also true on FanDuel, where Dallas Goedert is second behind Travis Kelce in projected ownership heading into the weekend. Not a high percentage. So I wonder, Jared, is that enough that it would push you off of using Goedert in a tournament lineup, or does it have to be a higher projected ownership rate, because we're still talking about some salary savings versus Travis Kelce? I guess in the case of Goedert, the thing that makes me wonder about it is because he hasn't really done anything for us so far. That would be one potential selling point for using him, is if people were scared off of him and thus not using him as much.
Yeah, I mean, I think 11% is not ideal. I wish it was lower. It's not a rate that would make me definitely not play him in tournaments. Again, we always go back to, you need to make sure your lineup as a whole is different enough, right? You don't need every single piece to be low owned, but if you're playing a chalky lineup everywhere else, I probably wouldn't play Dallas Goedert. But if you're already contrarian enough, I think Goedert at 11% is fine.
Yeah, he's not likely to get to like 24% or anything like that. So who do you like at tournament tight end?
I like TJ Hawkinson for tournaments, who, is almost 2,000 less than Travis Kelce. He's actually our top value at tight end on FanDuel, projected for, just 10% ownership, which I think is a good number. To me, the Vikings are almost a lock to throw it 40 plus times in this game against the Chiefs. They're a pass heavy offense anyways. There's a good chance they're playing from behind. And the Chiefs, in general, it's been a good defense so far this season, but they are 27th in tight end coverage DVOA. They're 24th in adjusted fantasy points allowed to tight ends. The Chiefs just gave up 85 yards in a score to Jets tight ends last week. So I do think that's, a potentially, weaker spot in that defense. Hawkinson always plays a big role in the passing game, but it might be even bigger this weekend.
Over to flex. What do you like there on FanDuel this week?
Cash games, I think running backs we didn't talk about that are nice values. I think Joe Mixon and Alvin Kamara are kind of the guys I'd be deciding between. Mixon 7,000, Kamara 7,100. Just both guys who are just good volume bets, right? I mean, we saw Kamara come back last week, play 75% of the Saints offensive snaps. He got 11 of the 12 running back carries, obviously saw the massive target share. So I just think for cash games, they both bring pretty nice floors at the price.
You doing anything different for tournament lineups?
Yeah, tournament lineups. I would not play either of those guys in tournament lineups. I don't think they have, the upside. I think you want to go with higher upside guys for tournaments. I would rather go wide receiver there. I think I talked about it on DraftKings, but Tank Dell pops up as a pretty nice value on FanDuel as well, just $6,000. We obviously saw Nico Collins have the big game in week 4, but it was Tank Dell who out-targeted and out-produced Nico Collins in weeks 2 and 3. I definitely think it could swing back in his favor this weekend.
You know what would be awesome for fantasy managers is if we just get a huge Joe Mixon game to counter this Bengals pass offense has been terrible so far. Just 30 carries, whatever yardage he's able to get, a touchdown or two. It would be lovely.
It would be.
On defense, we've got some middling real life defenses with good matchups, sub 4K price tags on FanDuel this week. Jared, where are you going on defense in week 5?
Yeah, so for cash games, I would just start with the Colts, who do come in as our top value against Tennessee. Tennessee has allowed the 4th most sacks so far this season, despite throwing the 2nd fewest passes. They have the 3rd highest sack rate at 12.8%. Yeah, so I think you start with the Colts. I do prefer the Saints at 4,000 and the Jets at 4,200. So if you get to the end of your cash team and have the extra money, you can definitely go up to one of those two defenses.
Yeah, despite scoring 27 points on the Bengals last week, the Titans remain an upside matchup for a defense at least. The Texans are another one, middling defense, but one that's been playing fine so far. They get the Falcons, which is another high sack rate offense. And we saw in London last week that Desmond Ridder likes to be generous with the football at times.
For sure.
If you want to know when new content hits the YouTube channel or any of our podcast listening channels, make sure you subscribe. Give us a rating review while you're there. We appreciate that. We appreciate you having you listen along. If you're ready to play week 5 on FanDuel, make sure you start your play on draftsharks.com. Head to the lineup generator, check the dollars per point values, check the ceiling projections, start building your lineups. And while you're on draftsharks.com, read Kevin's cash game and tournament articles for FanDuel this week. All of it is geared to help you win week 5.